Everybody, welcome back. We're reading Thomas Jefferson's The Art of Power. It's an excellent book, and I hope you like it. Please keep comments relevant to the book. It's really a little bit irritating because if somebody comments about the book, I won't be able to see their comment. If comments not even relevant to the video are blocking it, right? They get up above it. So I read these books because I want to nerd out with people about the text and kind of connect with people about the text. So please keep the comments relevant to what's actually being discussed in the video. Thank you. Save your personal questions for live streams and such. Okay, we're on page 74, and let's begin. The author intended to carry the draft to Williamsburg himself. On the road, however, Jefferson was stricken with dysentery. Incapacitated, he sent his enslaved person servant Jupiter to Williamsburg with 2 copies of the document, one for Peyton Randolph and the other for Patrick Henry. His words now on their way into the hands of other men, he returned to Monticello. Thanks to Jupiter, Jefferson's paper reached Williamsburg, and thanks to Clementine Rind, the widow of William Rind, the printer with offices of the North England Street, the piece was published, winning audiences in the rest of the colonies and in London. The assembled burgess applauded with the summary view was read aloud at Peyton Randolph's house. Peyton Randolph. To widen its reach, Miss Rind used her hand-pulled press to publish the summary view from the newspaper's office in Ludwell Paradise House in Williamsburg. In a preface, the printer wrote, "Without the knowledge of the author, we have ventured to communicate his sentiments to the public, who have certainly a right to know what the best and wisest of their members have thought on a subject in which they are so deeply interested." Yeah, if you have wise members of any group, and they're deeply interested in a subject, it's very, helpful to ask them what they think. Either she or another editor chose a model from Cicero to affix to the opening of the pamphlet. It is the indispensable duty of the supreme magistrate to consider himself as acting for the whole community, and obliged to support its dignity, and assign to the people with justice their various rights, as he would be faithful to the great trust reposed in him. On Saturday, August 6, 1774, George Washington paid 3s.d., I don't know what that is, for several copies of what he called Mr. Jefferson's Bill of Rights. Hey, that's really cool. George Washington bought one of Jefferson's papers. Thomas Walker, one of Jefferson's guardians from Peter Jefferson's will, loaned his to William Preston, a burgess and colonel of the militia, urging him to read the enclosed piece, and trusting that your care of it I can depend on, as I have no other copy. The summary view framed the issue too starkly for some at that hour. However far the mind might range in the direction of independence and war, thinking about the intellectual justifications for revolution and taking up arms were very different things. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Tamer sentiments were preferred, and I believe wisely preferred, the leap I proposed being too long as yet for the mass of our citizens. In the Virginia of time there was, he said, an equality of pace among the people, and prudence was required to keep front and rear together. With the summary view, Jefferson moved toward the front ranks of the cause, taking an advanced position. There were even rumors that Jefferson had been added to a bill of attainder in London, which would have declared him guilty, presumably of treason, a capital offense. Wow. Think about that. So he was being accused of treason for wanting independence. Wow. Talk about bravery. In the day of fasting and prayer resolution, the Albemarle resolves, and the summary view, Jefferson had appealed to his audience's sense of justice, which one would expect in a litigation of grievances, but also to its sense of destiny. In his rhetoric he deployed both the particular and universal. He simultaneously made the most specific of the allegations of British wrongdoings, some of which were obscure even to contemporary readers and listeners. and sketched out a vision of his history in which the struggles of the hour were inevitable chapters in the long story of freedom. In doing so, Jefferson mastered the art of rhetorical political leadership by appearing at once concerning about the needs of his people, and attentive to their innate need to be part of a larger drama that imbues daily life with mythic stakes. Rhetoric. I should read Aristotle's Rhetoric for y'all. It's really good. The work of his conscious life had been the accumulation of knowledge. You see, that's like me. That is totally like me. Right there, right there. The accumulation of knowledge, the broadening of his mind, and the formation of ideas about liberty, law, and how one ought to live. Bruh, that is me right there. That's actually like the goal of this channel. That's like the goal of me in my life, right? Is to broaden my mind, learn, just bam, bam, bam. Wow. Under William Small, under George Wythe, alongside Dabney Carr and John Page, Jefferson had come to believe that reason, not hereditary right, should govern human affairs. Tyranny was tyranny, whether practiced by kings or priests. He knew, too, that he was risking everything, and everything of his young families. In his commonplace book he had copied down these lines from Pope's translation of Homer. Death is the worst, a fate which all must try, and for our country 'tis a bliss to die. The gallant man, though slain in fight he be, yet leaves his nation safe, his children free, and tells a debt on all grateful state, his own brave friend shall glory in his fate. His wife loved, honored, all his race succeed, and late posterity enjoy the deed. That is beautiful. Oh, Homer is amazing. America was still 23 months from declaring independence when Jefferson gave the Atlantic word the summary view. His celebrity grew as his pamphlet circulated. Back then they had pamphlets. Today we have YouTube videos. John Adams thought it was very handsome public paper that demonstrated a happy talent for composition. Because of the play of his mind and the formation of his convictions, Jefferson was something of a prophet in the summer of fall of 1774, a figure who, from a mountain top, looked deep into the nature of things, and told his countrymen what he had seen. The summary view was an act of courage driven by conviction offered to a people in search of creed. As 1774 drew to a close, Jefferson, at 31 years old, a husband, father, lawyer, planter, legislator, and thinker. See, notice how he's like more than just one thing, right? That's what I really enjoy about him. He's not just one thing and only talks about this one thing. He's dynamic, he's cultivated, had moved to a new higher rank of political skill. The summary view and his other pieces demonstrated a capacity to reflect and advance the sentiments of his public, simultaneously giving his audience both a vision of the future and a concrete sense that he knew how to bring the distant closer to hand and dreams closer to reality. Yes, the author definitely is giving him a lot of credit there. Indeed, that's what's so valuable about these founding fathers. They have their flaws, but they also have their beneficial sides of desiring to improve themselves, to learn. Remember, his library was something very dear to him. He wasn't just some ignoramus, only reading one book and then getting confused so easily by reading multiple books. You know, he didn't get a headache from reading a lot. You know, it's brilliant. Truly a wonderful person who was very enlightened, especially in his time. Especially in his time, because of his sacrifice and bravery, you know, it led to freedom.